2, 3, 4, 5.
Hi, my name is Corey Hinchy. According to a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, 6.6% of 12th grade male students use or have used anabolic steroids, and over 2/3 of the users were 16 years of age or younger when they did their first cycle. It's a sad day when many of Americans, still growing youth, feel they must take illegal drugs to gain a physical advantage, altering their hormonal makeup inside their bodies unnaturally while they are still growing. This epidemic among our youth needs to stop, and it's up to us to put an end to it. Many of us have children or will have children, and as parents or future parents, we need to know what to protect them from, including the steroid use problem that is going on with the kids in our high schools. The use of steroids and other hormone-altering products is a growing problem among high school students, putting their young bodies in jeopardy as they are still growing, and we must put an end to their destructive cycle. First, I will talk about how the use of steroids and other hormone-altering drugs in high school students is a growing problem. Then I will talk about how steroids can negatively affect the human body, and even worse side effects in young people whose bodies are still developing. I will discuss what actions we can take to get steroids out of the hands of the students in our community. The use of steroids and other hormone-altering drugs in high schools is a growing problem. Many high school students have already used or are currently using steroids. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance, we get an estimated 660,000 students ages from 14 to 17 years old who have admitted to use of steroids as of 2005. More than 6%, or as many as 1 million U.S. students, say they have taken steroids for at least one cycle. If a million of our students are taking steroids, and this is obviously a big problem, there could actually be even more than what the survey shows, because this is just the amount of students that have admitted to using steroids. The amount of students that use steroids is rapidly growing. According to a survey by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, steroid use has doubled among students between 1991 and 2003. The National Institute of Drug Abuse estimates that more than 500,000 8th to 10th graders are now using these dangerous drugs, and an increasing number of high school seniors do not believe steroids are risky. Now that I've shown you that steroid use in high school is popular and still growing, I'll now tell you why teens choose to use steroids. First, it increases the body's ability to utilize protein when allowing an athlete to train with greater intensity without going into negative nitrogen balance. You can work out to only a certain extent naturally, and then at a certain point your body starts to break down. So the more you work out, your body's actually starting to eat itself up, trying to recover. But with steroids, you're able to negate the nitrogen balance that's negative, and then you can continue to work out and have longer sessions without losing muscle mass. And it increases the body's ability to build muscle mass, strength, and endurance. And it acts as an anti-inflammatory, both helping to protect the body from injury and speeding up the recovery after injury has occurred. A lot of players who get injured will take steroids to get back on the field faster and have faster recovery times, and a lot of older players will use steroids to prolong their careers, because as you age, your body recovers slower. And what kids will see on TV on their favorite teams is just like steroids, and they'll see this. And if you look at the major differences between Barry Bonds, for example, how little he was when he first started, and then after the use of steroids, and they'll see this and they'll think, hey, Mark McGuire right here, if I take steroids, then maybe I can look like this and I can be professional. Jose Canseco and Jason Giambi. And a lot of kids, maybe like with average bodies in high school, they're not quite good enough to get scholarships in college. So what they'll do is they'll take steroids, hoping that they get into college, and they might not be smart enough to get a scholarship otherwise. So sometimes they'll feel that steroids is their only option to get from going to college, or instead of staying home and having to go straight into the workforce. But it's not just about athletics. A lot of kids will take steroids because they have low self-esteem and they're not happy with their bodies, so they'll take shortcuts to try to get their bodies cut to the way they want and have higher self-confidence. Here's a picture of Carrot Top, and this is how skinny he was before he started taking steroids. And this is what he looks like now. And if kids can see some dork look so skinny and then see him get ripped like this, they'll think, why not me? Why can't I also be ripped like this? And that's what kids are thinking when they think, hey, I think I'm going to take steroids. But now that you have seen why teens choose to take steroids, I will now tell you why the negatives greatly outweigh the positives and why steroids should be kept out of the hands of high school students. Well, the negative side effects include liver tumors, jaundice, fluid retention, acne, and high blood pressure. And for men, it includes shrinking the testicles, reduced sperm count, infertility, baldness, and development of breasts. That's enough reason for me alone to not want to take steroids. And for women, growth of facial hair, changes in cessation of the menstrual cycle, and a deepened voice. But it's not just physical, it's also mental as well. The emotional side effects include paranoid jealousy, extreme irritability, delusions, and impaired judgment stemming from feelings of invincibility. There's so many reasons why you should not take steroids. And then it's even more worse for teenagers. Growth halted prematurely through premature skeletal maturation and accelerated puberty changes. See, a teenager's body is programmed to continue growing until the levels of testosterone in the body reach a certain level. And then with the use of steroids, your testosterone level peaks early, stunning your growth. So say if you're 16 years old and you're 5'8", and naturally you would grow to 6'2", if you take steroids at 16 years old, your testosterone levels are going to peak, and your puberty is going to stop, you're going to stop growing, and then you're going to lose those inches that you would have grown naturally if you had just waited to either take steroids later, or better off yet, just not ever taking them at all. And then also, teens that use steroid injections increase the risk of transmitting or contracting diseases such as hepatitis and HIV.